Three Demons, Book 2, Chapter 38, Unwanted Apology. Hades seemingly loomed over Randy. His voice resonated with a tone that bore the weight of an ageless god. Randy, you're considered a special entity among the five races, Hades revealed, leaving Randy dumbfounded as he had a blank expression once more. For years now, ever since the death of your biological parents, representatives from every race have been tracking your movements quietly, he continued. Joseph chimed in, his voice a mixture of amazement and humor coloring his words. I don't know if we should be honored or offended. Hades then let out a low chuckle, shaking his head. It's almost ridiculously easy to distinguish the three of you, but knowing my daughter, she probably didn't even try to bother in figuring it out first. He smirked as Randy was bewildered for a moment. Though I do assume she has found a soft spot for you, my boy. Randy furrowed his brow and asked, But why though? Why any of this? I never asked for this. Hades leaned in slightly, his gaze intent. Randy, you were meant to be a weapon, nothing more. Randy's irritation flared up, and he began to retort before Hades cut him off. However, that doesn't mean that it's your fate anymore. You found your own identity in such a short time when others might have gone insane. You now have people who would mourn deeply for you if you were to die. Hades paused before posing a question. Randy, how many times have you put your life on the line for others since becoming a demon? Randy sighed and admitted, too many times. A grin tugged at the corners of Hades' lips. See, that's your problem, Randy. Your emotions drive you, and they can both be a benefactor and a danger to those around you. You need to be careful. Hades then changed his tone, becoming much more serious. You remember what happened in your fight against Mochi, right? Randy looked down, a somber expression on his face, and he shook his head. I don't. Hades spoke. You took down Mochi as if he was nothing, the look of enjoyment as you attempted to tear him limb from limb. You cut him down with the look only a psycho would have. You then pointed your own blade at Rhea and Asuka, your allies. Randy's eyes widened as he looked down, beginning to shake. Hades leaned in close and looked Randy directly in the eyes. I know that look. I've seen it before. If you don't learn to control your emotions, you're going to kill someone you care about. With a sudden and unsettling cheerfulness, Hades patted Randy's shoulder and wished him good night. Randy was left in contemplative silence, pondering the weight of Hades' words and the responsibility he carried on his shoulders. The following morning, the Gabrielle company, along with Yanel, Valak, Yeltser, Zyla, Ivy, and Azul, gathered at the student council building. Hades commenced the meeting. He began to explain the situation. Some of you already know this, but I'll repeat it for the rest of y'all. This building, the student council building, has been selected to be the meeting grounds for the leaders of the five great races. The reason why you lot are here is because we are trusting you to defend against any ground invasion by Brachel. I've also named Azul as the official overseer of the Gabrielle Company. I'm not doing this for any reason outside of wanting you lot to become stronger, as I've seen too many close calls and I refuse to let any of you die because of mishaps in training. Rhea couldn't hide her displeasure and began to raise her voice. Now wait a minute! Hades immediately silenced her with a stern tone. No, you wait a minute. How many times have you and your company been on the brink of death? It's been more than once, and that is not acceptable. You also ignored your own subordinate and viewed him as a weapon and a boy toy, attempted to use him to get out of an arranged marriage, to which he proceeded to be put in a comatose state to give you your freedom. That isn't how a leader acts, Rhea, and I know I wasn't a great father to you, but I know Persephone taught you better than this. Rhea, her eyes downcast, felt the weight of her father's reprimand, her gaze briefly meeting Randy's, who held Benji on his lap. Okay, that's great and all, but why do we have to be here? We told those demons we were done once the job was done. It's been done for a long while. Zala spoke with disdain for still having to work with the Gabrielle Company. All fragments have to be accounted for, Zyla. Your presence will bolster our defenses against any potential attack from Brachel. Hades responded to Zyla with solid reasoning. The Yeltser clicked his tongue and began to walk away. Look, I'm not going to waste my time staying here. I've got shit to do. As Yeltser began to leave, a wall of fire proceeded to stop him in his tracks. Look, cowboy, I'm not here to deal with your shit. You don't have a choice in this matter. None of you do. Yeltser begrudgingly complied, gritting his teeth as he walked back over to the meeting. But why was the student council building chosen and not somewhere more secure? Kazuto asked. You see, this place was chosen strategically. This town has a great number of potential allies that would be useful to have in case of a surprise attack. I can promise there's more spiritually aware people here than you realize, Hades revealed. Hades then looked at Asuka. I expect everyone involved to pull their own weight. Even you, Asuka. I warn you, there is going to be a lot of bloodshed in the coming days. Do you think you can handle it? Asuka had a determined expression on her face. Of course. Plus, I've seen my fair share of bloodshed healing Randy a bunch. That caused everyone to let out a chuckle or two at Randy's expense as he sat there with his blank expression again. Oliver then spoke up. Well, what if the other races don't comply, like the fallen angels or the occult? She says, giving a glare to Azul. There is a contingency for that, I assure you. But the chances are very slim of that happening, Hades responded as Azul stepped forward. I have no intention of opposing the other races. It's my responsibility to handle Brachio, and anything that would hinder that would be something I'd like to avoid as best as possible. Well, who's going to be joining us then? I think it would be important to know who it is we're dealing with, Kisne asked, munching on a cake. The meeting will consist of myself, Azul, Michael's messenger Pierta, the leader of the occult Saber, and the overseer of Hell Yggdrad, Hades revealed. Rhea was shocked to learn that Yggdrad would be making an appearance at the meeting. She finally realized how important this meeting must be for him to be there. Hey Ava, who's this Yggdrad guy? Randy asked. Yggdrad is the overseer of Hell. He is one of the most powerful demons in Hell, and he's the one who oversees everything down there, to make sure order is kept between the hierarchy of the 12 cores. Randy was even more confused by that answer, shown on his blank face. Okay, what are these cores? Man, you really don't know anything, Joseph quipped. You're no better yourself, Joseph, Jake responded on behalf of Randy. Alva was happy to explain, however. The 12 cores are a hierarchy in Hell, each with their own job and purpose. They are the ones who punish demons who go rogue as well as protect the realm itself in case of invasion, though that hasn't happened in a millennia. As the meeting concluded, Hades allowed everyone to return to their lives for the next 2 weeks. As the group dispersed, Zyla intercepted Randy as he walked towards the alternative school building, and he gave her an unenthusiastic look, silently hoping she wouldn't engage him in conversation. Hey, you. Look, I don't know how to say this, but I am greatly apologetic for what I said and did to Asuka. Zyla attempted to apologize. Her words were strained as if it was challenging for her to express remorse. Randy turned his back to her, and his response clipped and less than gracious. I'm not the one you need to apologize to. Alva then caught up with Randy, seeing what had happened, and asked, Do you really think that was the correct thing to say? With a dismissive shrug, Randy spoke, I don't care. End of chapter 38.